Hello, everyone. So sorry for missing class today. But I wanted to make a quick video about what you can expect for the exam that's coming up this Friday on the 29th. So I'm going to share my screen here. Well, actually switch to my document camera and we can talk about what to expect. So exam 2, I think this might be a little blurry for a minute. Exam 2 is on Friday, 3/29 in class. So it's in person in our normal classroom during our normal class time. I will give you 55 minutes again. I'm not saying you need 55 minutes, but you have the 55 minutes for any of those of you who need those extra 5 minutes. So remember I mentioned the other day that we're having a little issue with Minitab for our categorical confidence interval. So the confidence interval for the population proportion. And the feature was taken out that we're using in this new update that just came out last week. So what I'm planning on doing, since we are in a computer lab and the computer lab should just have the downloaded version. I'm planning on having everyone just log into a computer in the computer lab and using that computer. I will check this out on Wednesday when we're in person and make sure that the feature is still there. It's like not updated and everything's okay with that. But that's my plan so far. So my plan is to not use our own individual computers unless we have the downloaded version, but I'm saying no to the web version and using the downloaded version on the computers in the lab. Okay, so that's kind of my thought for just this exam, at least just to get through this, and then we can figure out what to do after there. All right, so this exam will include 4 different chapters. So we have chapter 5, which is probability, and chapter 7, which is the normal curve and the standard normal curve. Then we have chapter 8, which we are looking at sampling distributions. Then finally in chapter 9, which we looked at last class, confidence intervals. You should recognize that these last three chapters are all so similar. We use the same Minitab feature, that graphing feature for the normal, standard normal, and sampling distributions. And then if we're calculating a confidence interval by hand and need to find Z or T, we use that same feature there. The same thing, we're doing the same thing in all of these 3 chapters where we're calculating probabilities or percentiles using Minitab. So remember, for all of those, we need like center spread. Now for the confidence intervals, we kind of go about it a different way, and we're estimating that population value, right? And we have a Minitab feature, or we can do that by hand. It's simple enough calculation. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're preparing for the exam. So this exam will have 2 parts, just like exam 1. So part 1 will be the multiple choice section. And I'm guessing, I haven't made it yet, around 10 questions. So I'll say plus or minus 10 questions. So it gives me a little leeway there. Remember, for this portion of the exam, we have no Minitab, no calculator, and no cheat sheet. Then when we move on to part 2, which is when we're done with part 1, this is the long answer. I'll say long / short answer because they're not all long. Section. And here, I'm just going to say around 4 questions. It's probably going to be not as long as you're thinking when I say 4 questions. Some of the questions will have parts and I think others might not. So I'm going to say around 4 questions and I'll give you an updated idea of what's going on Wednesday when we have class. So in this section, you will need Minitab. Okay, so this is where I'm saying we might want to log into the computer or use our own computer if we have the downloaded version. So actually, let me just add that. Downloaded version. And you are able to bring a calculator if you want. Or half sheet cheat sheet. Remember, the cheat sheet is not mandatory. It's just if you want to spend the time to do that. Try to focus that again, maybe. All right. So if you want to make a cheat sheet, you can. I'll bring those half sheets on Wednesday to class, or you could just take a piece of paper, fold it in half. Remember, it's single-sided handwritten notes. I do have that typed up on the exam 2 review folder, like the header there. Okay. So this is what you can expect. I feel like it's a very similar flow, really the same flow as exam 1. Okay, but these are the topics that will be covered. Remember, chapter 5 is just pure probability. We only spent a week on that, and it's not really a main focus. It's just something that I like to cover in preparation for this, but you will see some questions on the exam, but it's not the main focus. The chapter 7, 8, 9 will be the main focus for the exam. All right, guys. Well, let me know if you have any questions. I am available via email all day today. All right. Have a good day.